Greetings and welcome to our latest episode of Meet the Meditator. Today's conversation is with Dr. Sian Moxham. Sian is a consultant in critical care and anesthesia. Sian learnt TM in Bristol a few years back, and I met with her in London. We talked about why and how she learnt TM and how it helps her deal with the challenges of her extremely demanding job. I hope you enjoy this. So Sian has come all the way from Stroud?
Yeah, Stroud.
Stroud. And we're going to talk all things TM. We're going to go through Sian's TM journey and find out how she learned, why she learned, and how it's going so far. So welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to start by telling us what do you do?
So I'm a consultant in intensive care medicine and anaesthesia, but most of the time I work in the intensive care unit. So I look after patients who are on organ support, who are very close to death because they've got multi-organ failure. So that's what I do as my day job.
Would you like to start by telling us why you learnt TM? How did you come across it? Were you looking for it? Did it come to you? Had you done other meditations before? What's your origin story, they say?
So my origin story was that I've always been interested in meditation. I like the idea of meditation, but the actual practice of it seemed a little bit difficult. So, clearing your mind and letting your thoughts pass by your brain. And I'd read lots of books on meditation, but it never really sort of stuck. So I would say that TM found me rather than me finding meditation, although there was definitely that fertile soil, if you like, for it to come across my path. I found it by going to a conference, actually, in medicine, and one of my colleagues was sitting in the audience, and I could see her from across the room, and I thought, something's different. Ooh. So I stalked over, sat down. What's new? And she goes, how did you know? What? I said, there's just something different about you. What's going on? And she said, well, as you know, my father passed away about a year ago, and I took up meditation, and I thought I couldn't meditate because I'm this person with lots and lots of thoughts, and it was completely not something that I could do. But I've started to meditate, and I said, okay, tell me more about this. And then she started talking about Transcendental Meditation. I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a go. I always wanted to meditate, but if she says that she has the same experience of meditation as I did, but now she can meditate, I'm going to find out about this. And that's when I got in touch with the TM organisation and found a teacher.
Okay, so she was like a kindred spirit kind of a thing.
Kindred spirit, yes. I mean, she's a colleague. She's a friend, but I could see that there was a perceptible change in who she was and how she operated in the world that was immediately obvious. And the thing that had changed for her was meditating regularly.
What change you noticed in her?
Very difficult. Just a change, I guess a groundedness there, a sense of calm, imperceptible, but it was definitely there.
So you went to learn in Bristol?
Indeed, yeah.
In Bristol. Did you have any reservations?
100%.
What were they?
It's so different. Although I'd been introduced via a fellow doctor, it's so completely different to my world and the world that I exist in, which is very scientific and very none of that woo-woo, if you like. So meditation's always had that kind of woo-woo thing about it. It's not. I know it's not. I've done a lot of research on it. But there was that kind of reservation. What am I getting myself stuck into? Luckily, the teacher that I had is delightful and just completely put my mind at rest. And I thought, yeah, if you're going to teach me, you're going to be the person to teach me.
So you felt good as soon as you met her?
Yes.
Reassured?
Reassured, yes.
Okay. And what was the first day like when you were given your mantra? What was your first meditation like?
Is that it? No, that's a bit harsh. I can remember thinking, wow, this is really simple technique. But already I found myself going, ooh, I'm not my thoughts. I'm something else behind that thought on the very, very, very first meditation. And it just felt very calming. Yeah.
And then you started your twice a day practice from then on?
Yes.
And you presumably were working?
Yes.
At the time. Was it easy to find the time to meditate given your schedule?
Awful. Yeah, that's been my biggest difficulty, is the finding the time to do the meditation. However, if I don't, it does have an impact on my work and on my life as well. So to put into context what it's like to meditate at work, when I go to work, I have to be completely interruptible. So to go deep into meditation and be interrupted is a very, very difficult place to be. Most of the time, I could probably find a colleague to cover, but in reality, I do have to meditate outside of my hours, which is difficult.
You got to roll with it.
Got to roll with it.
Go with the flow.
And I don't beat myself up if I can't do it, because that's going to be the worst thing that I do. So I just make up for it on days where I'm not working.
You said that you notice it if you don't meditate. What do you notice?
So a lot of my job when I'm talking to relatives are really difficult conversations. Their whole world is being blown apart. I'm giving them the worst possible news that they could possibly have. Their loved one is really unwell to the point that there's the capacity that they may die, or I should say the probability that they're going to die. And that does have an impact on you when you're having that conversation. It has an impact on them, but also on you. So the two things that I found when I, like pre-meditation and post-meditation, that sort of era, when I meditate regularly, I can hold space for those people much, much, much more easily. And then afterwards, although I can feel all the emotions that they're feeling, because you can't help but feel those emotions, whereas before I would hang on to them and it would be very difficult to then go on to the next thing, I find that I'm able to process them much, much more quickly if I am regularly meditating. So I still feel everything at work and everything that I need to feel, but I recover so much more quickly.
How do you think that happens?
I don't know. It just does for me. I don't know. I think I feel more steady when I meditate. Life's not, just feel more steady.
Going back to the course itself, as you went through the course, did you enjoy the course?
Yeah.
Did you find it? What was your thoughts about the 4-day course?
Quick and efficient, which is what I like. And then you're good to go, aren't you? It was enjoyable to meditate with other people. It would take me 45 minutes to get to the group meditations, but it was definitely worth it. And to discuss experiences and have things sort of ironed out and your practice looked at. That sounds a bit much, but it was enjoyable, but it was quick and efficient, and it didn't require a huge amount of time on my part, because time is precious, isn't it? But it was a great technique to learn over a very short period of time.
Did you kind of click with it pretty quickly?
Yes.
So you didn't really need Some people I teach, they need a lot of correcting, as it were, in the early days.
Okay.
They don't, it's like they just need to be reminded of certain important things. Whereas other people just go straight in, and it's almost like they don't really need you as a teacher. What did you find?
Probably the latter. I remember by the Sunday doing the washing up, and everything was so much clearer and brighter, and the pans were more sparkly. It was...
This is just weird. On the first day?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I had it was the second day, because I had my instruction on the Saturday and this was on the Sunday. So I only meditated 3 times. Yeah. And things that seemed far away became more crystal clear very, very, very quickly. I was very lucky. I did learn to meditate in June 2019. So it was a good job that I could just run with it, because obviously with COVID, things went a little south in terms of being able to have correction and things like that. So I was very lucky. But I think part of that was I realized that I had probably been meditating without realizing it for quite a long time. I just didn't know that that's what it was. So it was very easy for my brain to click into that style of being.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that question, actually. If you'd done anything prior to learning TM, any meditation or mindfulness?
No. So no meditation, no mindfulness, although I tried to. I kind of missed the point. What I found is that I had been in that state every single day for my entire life. So I would wake up, and there is a period of about half an hour where if anybody tries to wake me, I'm in a real grump. But it's neither being asleep nor is it being awake, and it's certainly not dreaming. It's just this state of being and existing, and I've had that ever since I was a baby. Even my mum commented on it. I would stir, she'd go to pick me up, and I would be vile for the rest of the day. Whereas if she left me for half an hour, I was great. I was a very, very, very happy baby. And it's been like that ever since. And I realised that is basically the same state that I go to when I meditate. It's just a bit more formal.
Interesting. Could you describe that state specifically?
It is, for me, a state of no thought, or I do have thoughts. I do have thoughts on the way, but there's just this ocean of no thought, and that's it. And I can feel some thoughts coming in, but they never actually formalize. They never actually
become concrete.
Yes. And I'm aware of it, and it just sort of disappears and comes up, and then disappears and comes up and disappears. And with it, there just feels a sense, I mean, people describe it as bliss, but there just feels this sense of rightness. So that's where I go.
So why did you need to meditate then? If this is something that what did TM give you in addition to your default?
An extra hour of it?
Just more.
Just more.
More of it.
More of it.
An excuse.
An excuse. More of it.
And you don't need a bed.
So I think meditation, I think where I was doing it before, which was just half an hour, wasn't enough for the sheer stuff that gets thrown at you in life. And an extra 2, if you like, just provides that extra foundation and groundedness and resilience that anything that comes my way, it still feels rubbish. It's not great, but you just have that resilience to be able to manage it, deal with it, and let it just slide off you somehow.
Okay. Yeah. You just up the dosage.
Up the dosage, yeah.
Okay. Has your experience of two things. There's the meditation, and then there's, how it affects your life.
Mm.
In this 5 years since you learnt, has either of them changed?
Life has definitely changed. I would say that I've had multiple stresses in life. I think pre-meditation, I probably wouldn't have taken it on the chin quite in the same way. Whereas post learning to meditate twice a day, I've definitely had more resilience. Having said that, what I notice more about life, and it may not be a thing or it may be a thing, I just notice so many more coincidences and synchronicities, which is fun. I don't buy much into it, but it's fun. It's just like, well, that's great. That makes life easier. Oh, that's an interesting thing. So I think, is it synchronicities or coincidences? It's just, I think my awareness has expanded so much more. So more is coming into my awareness rather than the universe doing things or creating things in my life. It's just, I'm less this, I'm more this.
Right. So the universe is still the universe, but you're
more aware of it.
Your capacity to comprehend it has expanded.
I think so, yes.
Interesting. What can you give examples of coincidences and serendipities what do you mean by that exactly?
So like take for instance this interview. My friend said to me, "Are they going to pay for your train ticket?" And I was like, no, it'll be, it's fine. And today, lots of train cancellations and it's delayed. And actually, the train company are going to pay for my train ticket. It's just nice. It's that sort of thing. Yes, there are lots of examples. If I'm going to be honest, probably too personal.
Fair play. Fair.
But it's definitely there. Yeah.
Would you describe that as it feels like life is a bit more on your side?
Yeah, supported.
Mm-hmm. Supported.
Supported would be what I'd say. Doesn't mean to say the bad shit ain't going to happen. But through that, there are things that come into life that just make you feel supported. And, there is something perhaps better on the other side of whatever that has happened. Yes.
Good. Nice. Maharishi used to have a term, nature support.
Yeah.
He says you meditate, you get nature support. Sounds like that's what you're
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I think
okay.
You've got something?
You want to know synchronicities and coincidences. You'll probably want to edit this out. I was meditating and I started randomly playing the national lottery. Just never thought to do that. And one day I was like, I'm going to win that. That's going to happen. And about 3 weeks later, yes, I won 50k on the Euro Millions.
Wow. Have you kept playing since then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you won since then?
Little bit.
Little bits.
Yeah, little bits. But that's not the point. There was just this, I think what meditation has done for me is create a level of certainty about things. Even though everything is uncertain, there's just this inner knowing that this is going to happen or that's going to be like that. Yeah.
And do you what is it like to meditate for you? Could you describe what does meditation feel like for you?
Okay. When I'm doing it, it feels really good and very peaceful. And when I first started meditating, I thought I was tripping balls. And I felt really in between times that I wasn't meditating, I thought, gosh, this must be what drug addicts feel like. I felt as though I was jonesing. And I couldn't wait to meditate again, to the point that I thought this is really, really unhelpful. And I stopped meditating for a little while, which was really, really daft. Now I don't have that. That feeling, that great feeling of peace, if you like, and calm permeates much more throughout life, not just in the meditation. So I don't feel as though I'm some sort of drug addict for meditation.
Why did you think it was unhelpful to hear so good?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just thought, oh gosh, this is what addicts feel like, and addiction is not a good thing in society, etc., etc. And I think, what if I miss my meditation? Am I going to be this very angry person that needs to have their meditation? Yeah.
A TM addict.
Yeah. It's sad, isn't it?
It's so good. It's all a journey. If you had a friend who was on the fence, they were kind of interested in TM, but were on the fence, how would you presumably you'd want to encourage them to at least try it. What would you say to them?
Nothing. It's a choice, isn't it? You have to choose to do it. I'm very open about it. I talk about it, and I talk about my experiences of it, but I would never say, oh, you should do this. I mean, as it is, one of my friends has learnt to meditate. And it was just, oh, maybe you might like to consider this, but it's very hands-off. Very, very hands-off.
Okay.
You've got to want it.
Okay.
Worth it, though.
That was my next question.
Worth it.
Was it worth the money? Because TM
It's
a few
expensive.
£100.
Yeah. For me, absolutely 100%. I can't imagine not having that opportunity to meditate, and to meditate easily in my life.
And have you been on any retreats?
Of course.
And what were they like?
It's like a 2-week holiday in the Caribbean in about 3 days.
Why?
Because you come out feeling amazing. And actually, when I go back into my normal life, people are like, oh, you're different. There's a sparkle in your eye. There's an ease. Yeah.
And how do you think that you being a time efficient person, how do you think such a lot is achieved in 2 or 3 days?
For me, it's just complete rest and being completely outside of normal life and being looked after with your food brought, and you just sink into and embrace meditation and that calm and that peace. And it persists for quite some time afterwards.
So it's like filling up the tanks.
Hugely filling up the tank. As I said, 2-week holiday in the Caribbean in 3 days.
Full battery.
Full battery. Raring to go.
Are there times where you kind of almost have to make yourself sit down?
Yes. I think particularly when I am stressed, this is the best time. This is when I should be doing it. But when I'm stressed or upset, or there's a situation in life that is less than ideal, shall we say, and it is a real challenge to sit and meditate, because I know I have to go through that really uncomfortable phase of all those thoughts and emotions that are coming in. But just the beauty of the technique is I just need to sit down, close my eyes, and let the mantra come to me, and then just let the mantra come in and out, and the rest of it is just rubbish. And then I get there eventually. But there is that resistance of just sitting down and doing it, because you know you're going to have to confront all those stupid feelings and thoughts and things.
Yeah. Yeah. It always feels worthwhile at the end.
It does, eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've transcended?
I don't know.
What do you think transcending is?
From what I think, it's where you where you're no longer sort of conscious of yourself. I don't know. I don't know whether I have. And to be honest, does it really matter?
I think it's an interesting. I think it because this is called transcendental meditation. Yeah. Some people have an idea of what transcending is, and definitely in my experience, people come to learn because they're stressed in some way.
Yeah,
and then the origin of the stress is in their heads. It's their thinking, and so they think that getting rid of their thoughts is going to mean getting rid of this thing that's causing them the stress. So that the idea is to not think.
Mm-hmm.
So then they go about trying not to think, which doesn't work. But so that's what the transcending is interpreted as.
Transcending
it's
their
in
thoughts.
The name.
Yeah.
It's like going somewhere else.
Right.
But I don't think it's very helpful because it's not to me, transcending. It's the experience is like you had when your mum would wake you up in the morning. You hadn't quite started thinking yet, but you were awake.
Well, in that case, I just transcend every meditation. Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
If that's what transcending is, yes, absolutely, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Every meditation. It may only be for fleeting moments, or it could be for the entire meditation. But yes, in that case, yeah. If that's what transcending is,
the mind goes quiet. The thinking mind comes to rest, and you're still awake. Yeah. So you do.
Woohoo!
10 points.